How about being your best when things are at their best? Ideal. Any further? Go.
These events, they also start to shift the energies in certain places, do you know?
Sure. If that can be combined with an energy belt around your Gaia, sure. If that is an idea. But we will not solely do it for Earth energy shifts. There has to be a collective idea for a particular reason. We can shift the energy of the Earth in a different way, but not in the way of permanency if there is a landmass shift, a magnetic shift.
Well, not particularly Earth shift, but in the case of New Orleans, many people left, which shifted the energy in New Orleans.
Yes.
And many of those people never went back.
Yes. But many of those entities that were left, that de-emanated, are going back.
Yes.
That's the idea. The ones that left, choice.
Yes.
The ones that returned, choice. But the idea as the collective in that area, the 1 million plus people in that small area, and then they added to their entire idea collective, including Mississippi and such, said, okay, we need to revitalize, so we're going to give this. And they created, as a collective, human collective now, in agreement through the council, back then, to bring in hurricane. And now, that is thriving. They have a speak now, a word, an idea, a say in the vote. Because the collective is vibrating higher there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Wonderful. Any further questions?
I have a question about the Arcturian mothership.
Yes, one behind the moon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was tuning in to the energies of the different issues from the different councils, and I felt very kind of aligned with them and felt the energy. When it came to this issue, I felt a conflict. Was that a conflict with the councils, or as far as the nay votes, or was I just feeling an internal conflict in myself?
The internal conflict in yourself was a vibration of the human collective.
That's what I thought.
The human collective most likely will vote for this in your now. The reason is, with the conflict, if I can give you the idea of the ones that are, quote, opposed to it, is because they really feel that that big of a ship, that plainly seen, now becomes truly undeniable. That, they believe, might be an infringement upon free will.
Yes.
Because the collective is not vibrating to say, okay, there really are UFOs. Extraterrestrials exist. In other words, you might still have too many Republicans on the planet. So that idea that's not believing that will be a, let's see, smack in the face. Will that work? And then there's no more deniability by any government because there's just too much, what you guys call proof, and not you individually, collective humanity.
Is this conflict not also within the Arcturians, because they're very concerned with what is an infringement of free will?
Yes, the Arcturians are absolutely one of the best free will infringements.
Respecters of free will.
Proactive in that idea. Yes, but the Arcturians, they want it in a way, because Arcturian compassion is deep, and you can use your mind to understand why they would want it.
Sure.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Edward, any further elaboration on this?
No, that validated what I was feeling. I thought I felt the conflict in the human consciousness, and it wasn't necessarily of the other councils. and it felt like it was like a back and forth, like very close to 50-50.
Right.
Okay.
The idea is when there is an infringement upon free will, what it usually causes, and this is from past nows of Ascension during the different timelines starting 455,000 years ago, the idea is when you infringe, it causes not hope, not there's something else. What it usually causes, the highest probability, is panic. And then panic leads to security and separation in that idea. That's the biggest reason why we don't choose a whole lot of things that will infringe upon free will. To a small collective, of course, because it's that small and they're ready for it, so that would not be considered infringement upon free will. But when you're at this mass of a viewing of this Arcturian ship that will eclipse the moon in a way, there's no denying it, then that's the concern of panic inducing, they've always been lying to us. Then there's always anger, because out of fear becomes what? Anger. Anger, all emotions that are negative come out of fear, and everything positive, of course, comes out of love. Everything is based off of those two. We mentioned that before. So that fear streak in them causes them to react in panic idea. So that is the concern of the Arcturians, once again, for this, and the human collective negative idea, that it would just be too grand of a scale when the entire collective is ready to absorb it. Now, if a UFO in this room right here landed, with these entities rather, landed out there, we would all go out and say, hey, what's up? Okay, but if you do that in Times Square, different story. Panic, fear, that kind of idea. So the collective is vibrating, they feel, at the highest to do that. It's needed more in the West than the East, in other words, Russia, China, that kind of idea. Europe. But here, there's a tendency to believe the government is not really covering things up. Oops. Choice. So, are there any further questions? No? Wonderful. You did not chime in this time, Jason.
I only had a comment on the Arcturians.
What's your comment?
That I understand the reservation about giving us information and then that infringing upon free will, but also I see it as a greater loyalty to themselves to give us the choice.
Yes.
And then even with current belief systems now, even when evidence is presented, lots of people deny shit. So.
Sure, they still deny. That is their concern.
So I think they're giving them a chance to exercise that free will of denial of fact.
That, absolutely. They are the final say. They are the ones in the now that will do it or not, because that is their choice.
Yeah.
However, their compassion
Right.
is outweighing that idea of the worry, quote, worry, which is not, let's call it a concern, that it will be a panic idea, will be okay because they love you
Yeah.
a whole lot. Not that we all do, but they
It
have.
seems like there's a large enough collective who calls upon their help already
Immense amount.
to
About 90% of your medical healings are done through them of the unawakened idea.
right.
The ones that are praying, in other words.
So
The ones that are energy healers are doing that themselves.
right. So that even when the panic comes, I don't think it's like we talk about. There's light overcoming dark or tipping the scales. I don't think that the panic has enough energy to tip the scales of those that are holding
True.
their vibration of compassion.
That is a perspective, and that's the now. Yes.
Yeah.
So we shall see where it plays out. It is very exciting,
And-
because this seems to be the best way for people to wake up that are asleep, kind of. Go ahead, Peter.
I think it also has something to do, they talked about the timeline in the council.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this sort of action is necessary to move the timeline along
Yes.
in the right manner, so,
Yes.
yeah.
Remember, what I gave you, what actually was channeled through Roxie with these different entities, was highlights. There was more in-depth conversation, but you can't, it would take too long to get every single word out. But that was the highlights of it. So yes, there was absolutely reading correct. Make sense?
Yes.
So we will show, pardon me. Yes, we shall take a short break. We have a guest speaker. He will wait, so to speak. Ow. Hi.
You okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay?
Yeah, we can go.
Okay.
And then we'll go and just take a break and then come back and talk. What's that?